So that's a perfect segue, by the way, because one of the things I had on my list was a conversation I saw about a week ago, which is an old one. It's not a new one, but people are going, it's the whole ranking reports are useful, ranking reports are crap, ranking reports and this and that, and it had that same smell to it, which was, which is sad because the guys who are fluffing up the reporting each month with ranking reports just to make them, we all remember the days 15 years ago when you'd see those ads for, we increased our clients' rankings by 1,500%. Yeah, for long-term garbage, it does nothing and makes no money. Great.
Yep.
But the one thing I didn't see anyone really talk about, and thus I'm bringing it up, and I don't think it's done enough, is I have two reasons I use ranking reports. Well, three to this day. One is because of stuff like Authority Labs shows the universals and the snippets, and you can see which query spaces have those, which you might not notice in your other duties during the day. So that gives you a new place to look at content or ways you can attack a SERP. Number two for me was our competitor research or analysis. I like to, I was doing my notes at the beginning of the month. So today I was doing some of my monthly reporting, and sure enough, I'm over at Authority Labs, but I'm not looking as much to see, our rankings went up here and there, because my traffic will tell me that. But it was more which of my clients' competitors are moving. You know what I mean? Because it's like one guy dropped out. He was like gone. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But one of the other competitors was coming up, and he's starting to sneak into some of our stronger query spaces, which is something I want to go see. Is it his blog? Is it his social activity? What are they doing that's causing them to move? And that's another reason I use ranking reports for. And the third one I use them for is to see when Google does something. And that was another thing that happened with one of my clients about, 3 weeks ago. Whereas everybody kind of moved up a little bit in this and that, or if everybody moved down, that's the kind of stuff, Terry, that you get into like that hummingbird, or when they're changing query classification, you'll see things jumble, or it could be seasonal or whatever. I like to look at, I keep in Authority Labs, I fill it right up with competitors. Like, you cannot add any more, Dave, kind of thing. It's like, you can see what Google's moving and doing stuff,
Yeah, I didn't mean to say that. I mean, I like ranking reports for me. I just don't like them for the clients. It's when the clients get all, and granted, I've moved into the automotive space now, so I'm using them from a local standpoint. I'm wanting to be able to get a better understanding about how we as a company can attack from all of our clients' point of view. So I like being able to look at the clients, but a lot of times the clients are their clients' competitors, because the automotive space is finite, and there are only so many car dealers. But what affects one can be equated to what affects someone else in another state, which is what I really like from an Authority Lab standpoint, that I can see it at a granular level, to watch how it's moving in the map pack, to see how it's moving from a local standpoint, because we have so many clients who are like, you're not looking at it the way we're looking at it. It's like, well, we can't. We could, but it's not working.
Who else actually still uses ranking reports, and why, of course?
I'll jump in. I do. I provide some level of them to clients. I use them a lot. I think, like everybody here, we all use them for ourselves, because it does give you a little bit of insight into what's going on. But I tend to lean on Search Console data, like just reporting sort of top 10 in Search Console data for some specific target pages that we're trying to hit, or something like that, like something that's relevant, or figuring out branded versus non-branded, what's happening with that transition and its impact on, from paid search or something like that, looking for that sort of thing. So I do use ranking reports. I do pass, not as much data as I look at over to clients, but there's a lot of to me, there's a lot of sort of relevant stuff in there, especially as it ties to paid search and social media promotions, and how that's impacting branded queries and stuff, so we can get a feel for the organic. And I want them to see how that impacts their overall organic traffic, and where their gains are relative to other things we might be doing. So
I think that's interesting too, that you bring up the Search Console version, because a lot of people, which is something I think people don't quite get granular enough with, because it says average position, this and that. But the fun part is if you click through on those reports and actually dig deeper into those search query reports, you'll find that Google, like, will once in a while stick one of your other pages there for that term. You ever notice that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And it's interesting where it's like, okay, they're obviously just testing something out there.
Yeah, that's why I figure is that they're, it's like, this time that we showed, like, this one had this many impressions, and then all of a sudden these other two pages got like 2 or 3 or 4 impressions out of that search term. It was like Google was saying, maybe someone nope, they didn't like that. Go back to the other one. It's like they're doing their own split testing or something. If you dig into those search query reports in Search Console and actually click through and look at that average position of what pages they were, it's kind of neat. A lot of people don't do that, but.
No, but based on some of the stuff that they're doing over with Google Optimize and like they're pushing to there, yeah, I would certainly hope they're doing their own split tests on what the results are supposed to be looking like. So
that's as far as I'm letting you get on that one, because that's actually on my list later today is tags, tag manager, and optimize and stuff. Steve, I saw you nodding earlier. Are you still using the ranking reports for some purpose here and there, or is it just your customers want them? Or?
Yeah, a little bit, especially the smaller customers. There's so few bright spots for a lot of them that they like to see that upward mobility. The other reason I use them is not so much for showing a ranking report, but showing them who they're competing against. It's like, yeah, you're number 4 or 5 or 7 on the list, but Jesus, look who we're trying to beat. And then that usually shuts them up about the ranking reports. Because, it's like, okay, Houzz and Pinterest and, Etsy and eBay are all of the, top 4 or 5 slots. Do you really think your budget's going to beat their budget? Well, no. Okay, so then let's stop looking at trying to be number 1 and start looking at focusing on other areas of the website, other areas of, because you can't beat those people.
Well, that becomes the SEO art of war approach. When faced with a larger, stronger opponent, you have to go around and attack them for, longer tails and things like that.
Or you go to Fiverr and start doing it. Actually, you wait for that negative SEO campaign email to show up in your inbox and then get it.
Well, I agree with Steve. Most of my clients are small, local, SEO type plays, and it matters a lot, especially getting them into the local pack. So
yeah,
it matters in terms of getting them traffic and visibility, and it matters to them. So it does still count for them.
Okay, but how are you tracking the local pack presence?
I use
manually, or what do you use?
No, I use a product called Bright Local. They have really good local based ranking report tools, including competitive comparisons, and it's pretty cheap. So I use
affordable. Cheap sounds like quality, man. Don't hurt them like that. Affordable, pretty affordable. Cheap is quality.
Well, so what I mean is it runs me about $65 a month, and I'm reporting on 20 or so clients most of the time. So I mean, I have a small business here, but for those 20 or so, it's really useful.
Right, and like $30 or $3 a client, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Great price.
Yeah, I've found that you can't get around it because most clients, that's all they understand is a ranking report and how much money they put in the till. That's what they understand. Beyond that, you're talking nonsense to them. They don't understand a word you're saying. Even when you tell them, well, you can't rank for that because your quality just isn't anywhere near where it should be to compete.
Or Terry, you're up against,
and what's below, you see it?
Or you're dealing with larger corporations, and they have those vanity terms, Terry, and what they're asking for is going up against the actual brand. Yeah, we were
used our magazine that wanted to rank for new Taurus. Yeah,
no, it was used Ford Taurus, and since the NDA and stuff was worn off long ago, it was Auto Trader, and literally they want somebody on the C level had come down to the CMO and had come down to me and Terry, and they wanted to go after used Ford Taurus, And not only was
new Ford
was it okay
that they wanted to rank #1.
Well, no, it's Auto Trader. They don't have new cars anyways. No, it was used. Because then when we looked, Ford website was #1, and then Ford actually had a separate domain that was used Ford.com or something like that, and Ford actually owned it. But yeah, we had a client, they had a lot of authority themselves, but you're not going to beat out the actual Ford manufacturer. It was like they wanted to be #1, and we tried to explain this to them, and they weren't really getting it. So yeah, there's those moments. Those are fun.
we've all had them, or where you're having basically your client is pleading with you in a weird way, or arguing with you about why they should be able to accomplish a task that clearly they can't. Like if you're working for Amazon, well, I should be able to rank for Nike shoes. Well,
yeah, and then you know what they'll say? They'll say, because mine are better. My shoes are better, and this and that. It's like they think we could actually go into Google, break in, and rewrite the algo or something. It's like